That is the All Black side that Scott Robertson is sending out to write a new chapter in rugby folklore and the rivalry between these two teams. And it does feel like both of these sides are embarking on a new chapter as a team, bedding in some fresh players, maybe a slight changing of the guard in some respects, building depth and quality with the halfway point towards the Rugby World Cup being upon us. And this one is going to be absolutely huge. That game 9 years ago here in Chicago, where I am right now, and where the game will be at Soldier Field again on Saturday. That game 9 years ago was a slice of history, a first ever win for Ireland. They then went and won a series away in New Zealand for the first time. There was the Rugby World Cup epic. There was the game last year in Dublin where Scott Robertson, at the start of his tenure as New Zealand coach, all sorts of optimism coming through. Feels like there's a bit of pessimism now from New Zealand fans, but I also sense the same from Ireland fans who were worried coming into this, that this All Black team are going to be cooking from having played together in the Rugby Championship and through July, whereas Ireland have had players off with the British and Irish Lions, who were being coached by Andy Farrell and other coaches too, so it'll feel quite familiar, but nonetheless it was not Ireland, and in some cases they haven't played yet this season. So lots of subplots, and let me look into the New Zealand team on this video, and then what I'm going to do is a combined 23-man squad. So if you had all 23 New Zealanders, all 23 Irishmen, who would you pick in a combined team? Let me know your thoughts in the chat down below. Give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. I'm in my hotel room. It's actually, what time is it? It's like nearly 5 p.m. local time here in Chicago. I've had a full-on day, done like 20,000 steps. Yeah, over 20,000 steps. I've had about 20,000 calories as well. The food is so good. I really like this city. I really, really like it. And going to a blues club a little bit later to get a little bit more authentic Chicago. So, yeah, the rugby is why I'm here, though, and buzzing to be part of it. I've seen so many rugby fans. Had a little stroll down the river earlier, and there were, I mean, more green than black, it has to be said. Many, many more Irish fans. And I went to that sandwich joint, Mr. Beef, which is the inspiration for the TV show The Bear, which, what a show that is, by the way. And there were some Ireland fans sat around me as we were eating our sandwiches and chatting rugby. Very good sandwich. Right, there we go, New Zealand's team then. And confirmation that the cheeky so-and-so that is Scott Robertson has selected those three true Irishmen, the Barrett brothers. He's just rubbing it in the face of the Irish fans, stealing three of their sons, three Irish sons playing for New Zealand from County Meath. Or someone in the chat actually earlier said I needed to call it, pronounce it as Mead. County Mead. So yeah, those Barrett boys, turncoats, playing for the ABs again. Yeah, I sidetracked myself there. So yeah, what are the Kiwis complaining about with Jameson Gibson Park and James Lowe and whatnot? Same difference. Anyway, no, it looks to me like strongest possible from New Zealand of the available players. Oh yeah, because there's no place. This is how strong the New Zealand side is. There is no place for that other Leinsterman, Rieko Ioane, in this squad. But they do have Tupu Vaa'i out. He would have started probably in the second row, possibly on the flank. But let's say he would have started second row. So Fabian Holland comes in, the natural replacement for him. Without Patrick Tuipulotu able to come on and just do what he does, rattling bones in the last half hour of the game. Josh Lord is in. That is a slight downgrade, I would say, purely because of the type of job that Patrick Tuipulotu does for his team. Peter Lakai selected over Wallace Satiti is a really interesting one. Obviously, there's no Tyrell Lomax as well. Fletcher Newell's been good. But Lakai over Satiti starting on the bench, is an interesting one. Bearing in mind how well Wallace Satiti did in 2024, that seems like it should be a bit of a surprise, but it's not controversial, not really a surprise. It's the form selection. Lakai has been playing well. Satiti not living up to the rugby that he's played last year, however, giving him a mission to just go on and go toe-to-toe with Caelan Doris, coming on in the second half. I mean, he's explosive. Peter Lakai's explosive as well. No shortage of firepower in the All Black pack. How will it match up in a combined pack? If you had all of the New Zealanders, all of the Irishmen, who would you pick? And that looks to me like the strongest backline that New Zealand can select. Obviously, no Richie Mo'unga at the moment. He may well come back into the frame when he's back playing. Lester Fainga-Inuku on the bench, and Damien McKenzie as well. Well, that means they've got some solid players coming off the bench. But the starting backline, looks to me like they tried the Billy Proctor thing, and I quite liked how much Scott Robertson persisted with that. I also liked that he wasn't afraid to pull the trigger ultimately, and Quinn Tupaia looks like he has a little bit more creativity. But yeah, that's a pretty good backline. Although I will say, one fact that buzzed around on a little rugby WhatsApp group I'm in said that Beauden Barrett has started at 10 every single time Ireland have beaten New Zealand. Because it was a long, long time, many, many decades without beating New Zealand. They got their first ever win 9 years ago here in Chicago. Beauden Barrett was number 10 that day. He was number 10 when Ireland were playing them in New Zealand and won those 2 test matches to win the series. And he's number 10 in this game. Now, records are there to be broken. It could be an omen and you think that's a good sign for Ireland. But then again, yeah, as I say, records are meant to be broken. The Eden Park record was not broken this year. Maybe Beauden Barrett being the starting 10 against an Ireland team that wins is going to be one of those that Beauden Barrett reverses the trend of. Mind you, he must have been at 10 in games when Ireland haven't won as well. So maybe that's kind of meaningless, actually, now I think about it. Loads of great matchups all over the park. Cam Roigard and Jameson Gibson Park. That's pretty tasty. James Lowe and Caleb Clark, sort of not directly opposite each other, but then you've got Tommy O'Brien and Leroy Carter. Very similar kind of battles. The Jack Crowley, Beauden Barrett is going to be a really fascinating one. The replacements coming on. Satiti Doris is box office all on its own. I'm really looking forward to this one. And that's over 400 Ks. It must be maybe nearly 450 kilos of front row coming off the bench for New Zealand. That is frightening. And Paddy McCarthy, what a baptism of fire he has got. And that, just to remind you of the Ireland team, Paddy McCarthy might be the biggest story in the Ireland side, getting his debut off the bench for Ireland. Although Andy Farrell did say in the press conference earlier, he's not concerned that he's going to be overawed. He thinks he will take it in his stride, and he's just got the mentality of an elite player. We're going to find out. Jack Crowley had the mentality of an elite player when Munster played Leinster. He's got the nod over Sam Prendergast, and it's his team to steer around the park. I think the piano pushers can do their job. I really like the look of that Irish pack, and especially having Caelan Doris coming off the bench and Ian Henderson, 2 proper campaigners, 3... Test Lions off the bench. It's really, really good. And 12 test, and not just Lions, Test Lions, 12 Test Lions in the matchday squad, 8 in the starting lineup. It's a good team. Big Stuart McCloskey getting the nod over Bundy Aki, and Robbie Henshaw not getting in the 23 at all. Big call, but form call. And actually, Andy Farrell and Scott Robertson are both making form selections for the most part, I would suggest. As for a combined 23-man squad, if you had all 23 of these Irishmen, you had all 23 of those New Zealanders, who would you pick in a combined side? This is what I've gone with. And you can see, in short, very green in the forwards, very black in the backs, and pretty 50-50 on the bench. What does that... I think that tells a story. I think New Zealand have got the firepower in the back line if their forwards can do a good job. Ireland have got the ability to, I won't say overpower, because New Zealand don't lack power, but Ireland have got the ability to just take it to New Zealand enough up front that, most importantly, New Zealand's backline aren't able to open up and do what they want to do, and Ireland can start to pick New Zealand off. It's going to be such a fascinating tactical battle. So yeah, I've gone with an all-Irish front row. Porter and De Groot was a close call. Fletcher Newell's been doing really well. Tyg Furlong hasn't played since, obviously didn't play a lot last year. Came back and looked himself again through the Lions tour. Dan Sheehan is incredible. Him and Cody Taylor, that's another matchup to look forward to. One of each in the second row. I've gone with Scott Barrett and Tyg Byrne, and Ryan Baird over Simon Parker. That's interesting. I think this is a massive game for Ryan Baird. Maybe his biggest ever playing for Ireland. No Peter O'Mahony anymore. And a lot expected of him. He's a great line-out forward. He's a really athletic man. He seems to have got a little bit bigger. He had a really good summer tour and played in the team there. So a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Ardi Savia and, well, it would be Doris if Doris was starting. Conan, even with Conan starting over Lackey. Gibson Park Roigard was a tight call. I've just gone for Gibson Park, the experience, but Cam Roigard is on a roll. And that matchup, another box office one. I've gone for Beauden Barrett over Jack Crowley. Although Jack Crowley's been playing brilliantly. Beauden Barrett's Beauden Barrett. And I've gone for Geordie. So all three of the All three of the Irish boys from Mead are in the team. Gary Ringrose and Gibson Park, the only Irishmen in the back line, and all New Zealand back three. And that was a form pick on my part. James Lowe has more pedigree than Caleb Clark. Caleb Clark in the Rugby Championship, brilliant finisher. And I think chances might be at a minimum, and taking them is massively important. Now, James Lowe can when he does, but he hasn't in a while. Maybe, do you know what? I can just see this being a game where James Lowe has one of his matches and it just goes his way. Taukiaho, Tamaiti Williams and Finlay Bealham. Satiti and Doris. I know there's no second row on the bench, I know, but it's Satiti and Doris, whatever. Ryan Baird can step up to second row. Those two are just too good not to have involved. Craig Casey, Damien McKenzie, and Bundyaki should be in green, sorry. Bundyaki should be in green. So that is 13 Irish, 12 New Zealand. A predominantly Irish pack and a predominantly New Zealand backline. I think that kind of tells a story. There's very little between so many of the players in each position. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Prediction, now we've got both teams. I think Ireland are going to win narrowly. I think Ireland by 3. But a score in it either way. But I'm just going to go Ireland by 3. I've got no idea what the betting is doing actually, or what the bookies are saying. They're seldom wrong, but there you go. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one.